All right, guys, so we are going to do number 4, letters A, B, and C. And on this one, it does say that if this is something you don't need the place value chart for, you don't need it. But if you do, it is something that I would probably use. We are going to use it just for right now. So I'm going to kind of scooch this up a little bit so you guys can also see my place value chart, which is a little difficult to see just because it is so big. Sorry, guys. Let's do this. So then that way you guys can see it. So if this is my place value chart, this is the problem I want to do. It says I have 7 times 10. So I know that that 7 is going to go in the tens column. And if I just read across my 4 times 1, well, that's going to be 4 ones. Okay. I have 6 times 1/10. So that's just telling me I'm going to have 6 in my tens column. 9 times 100. That means I'm going to 9 times 100th. That means I'm going to have my 9 in my hundredths column. And then I'm going to have 2 times 1,000ths. That means that I'm going to have that 2 in the thousandths column. So this is how you would write this number in decimal form, which is going to be 74 and 692. Okay. If we take a look at, and I'm going to let this kind of go up off there. I've got 500, so that means I'm going to put a 5 in my hundreds column. 3 times 10, so that means I'm going to have a 3 in my tens column. And then it goes 8 times 1/10. So I'm going to have to put this 8 in that tens column. And before I move on, if I don't have anything in that ones column and they don't list that I'm multiplying anything by it, that's just going to mean that I'm going to have nothing there. Okay, you don't have to put 0 times 1. If you just kind of leave it off, we already know it's going to be a 0. And then if I look here, I've got 9 times 1,000th. So that means that 9 is going to be in that thousand column. So again, I have nothing in that hundredths column. So I want to put that 0 right there. So this is how I would write that number in decimal form, which would be 530 and 809 thousandths. Okay. Last one we're going to do, let's see here. I've got 4,000, so I'm going to put that 4 in the thousands column. I have 2 times 100, so that's my 2 is going to be in the hundreds column. 7 times 1, so I'm going to put that in the ones column. So of course there's nothing in that tens column, so there's that 0. I have 3 times 100th, so that's going to come right over here. 4 times 1,000th, and I'm going to put that 4 there. And if you're like, oh, make sure you put that 0 in the tens column, you are correct. We need to have that 0. So that is how you would write letter C as 4,207 and 34 thousandths. Okay. Using that place value chart is definitely going to be really helpful with you for that one. So here's the last problem. It says Mr. Pham wrote, and I'm going to write this on my place value chart just kind of off the screen. So he wrote 2 and 619 thousandths on the board. Christy says it is 2 and 619 thousandths. Amy says it's 2 ones, 6 tenths, 100ths, 9 thousandths. Who is correct? I want you to think about that. So this is what he wrote on the board. Let's see if you guys can see that. There it is in the place value. Christy says it's 2 and 619 thousandths. Amy says it's 2 ones, 6 tenths, 100ths, 9 thousandths. Now technically they're both right, but one of them is the one that is more correct when you say it. And who is it? It would be Christy. So Christy is saying it correctly because she is saying it how it should be read. Amy, she's kind of saying it like we would be writing it in expanded form, saying I've got 2 ones, I've got 6 tenths, I've got 100th, I've got 9 thousandths, but that's not how I would read that answer. So now you're going to go ahead and go to the next slide and you are going to do some problems as your practice.